Yeah, I think it actually was a big deal. Uh, Hair malfunction, that's not a big deal at all. But I think what is a big deal is what God did, and honestly, what I believe that He was beginning to do to really change things and create a new normal. And I think that I would love for us to talk about that because for God to interrupt our regular scheduled programming in the way that God did, it's bigger than what we think. And I think that we have to be good stewards over really aiming to unpack the power of what happened. What y'all think?
My. I have been, I think, mostly blown away. Like, I think in the moment, I'm like, I didn't have a choice. Like, I wasn't going to keep pulling on it over and over again. And I knew that what I was saying in the moment was more important. Like, it really did not matter to me. And I knew that, like, I was opening myself up for people making fun of me and it becoming like a meme and it going everywhere and people, seeing me differently. I don't think that I anticipated when I, took the wig off and kept on preaching that it was going to help as many people as it did. Like, it seems even crazy. And you want to talk about God using the foolish things of the world. Like, the idea that someone taking their wig off while preaching ended up becoming something that helped people was like not in my calculations at all. Like, I calculated you're going to be made fun of. I calculated that, like, it's going to be a thing and people are going to have a judgment and, maybe they will think you were clowning. Like, I was prepared for all of those things, but I was not prepared for this idea that it was going to help people and that people were going to feel free and liberated and that it was going to take the message to another level. Like, I thought, I don't want this to take away from the message because God really gave me a message that I felt was worthy of everyone hearing. And I'm like, Lord, I just don't want this to be a distraction from what you have me doing and to think that it was just like on another level. Like, I know that was just a God thing.
Yeah, there is preaching a message, and then there is becoming a message. You can't necessarily impart what you preach, but you can impart what you become. I can't. My children represent who I am, and I feel like what you did gave God permission and opportunity to do what God wanted to do, because God had a message that was beyond your message. And we were talking, and, like, honestly, yes, it helped people, absolutely. Yes, it freed people, absolutely. Yes, it demonstrated courage under fire and tenacity and grit like ain't nobody's business. Yet it demonstrated selflessness. But I really feel like an idol was confronted. And I felt like an image, an idol, a stronghold. There was a showdown between you and an idol and a stronghold that holds so many people down, men and women, in whatever form this idol expresses itself in. I feel like there was a showdown. You didn't know it. You just got thrown in the ring with the idol. And I'll tell you what I think the idol was. The idol was the idol of manufactured beauty. It was the idol, maybe two. I think it was two giants in the ring. Manufactured beauty, one, but then also the idol of perfectionism. Like, it has to be perfect in order for me to be presentable and accept. And what does that look like in people's lives? Like, it's an idol. It's an idol to feel like I'm not me if I have a malfunction. If I have a wardrobe malfunction or a hair malfunction or whatever, you broke an image, you broke an idol, and so it caused me to begin to think about, like, wait, what does this mean for the culture? Like what does this mean for the world? Like, we really have to, because God doesn't do nothing small. For God to interrupt that service, to step in, to take that service, which is literally the biggest church, the biggest Sunday morning service in the world, arguably. 90,000 people watching live. I think that video itself now is probably marching close to 1 million views, probably 700,000 views or whatever. Why did God do that? I think that an idol, that an image was taken down. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that there's a level of liberation that took place in that moment that I didn't anticipate. It's not what I was preaching about, but I think it's what God destined. And I think that there is a need, I'm going to say, for women, right? I can't speak for the male experience, but I think for women, I think that we do feel like, in order for us to be seen as powerful, in order for us to be seen as someone who is taken seriously, there is a certain way that we need to present ourselves. There's a certain way that we need to speak. There's a certain way that we need to deliver. Even body image, we need to look away a certain way. Our clothes need to fit a certain way. In order for us to be taken seriously, we have to be the total package. And I think and if my back is against the wall and all I got is me, I believe that what God can do in that moment itself. Did it require vulnerability? For sure. Did I have a vulnerability hangover afterwards as I was being tagged in pictures of me in my wig cap? For sure. But like, when I go back to myself in that moment, I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't care about that. Like, this is me. This is who I am. And God has really given me something to say that has nothing to do with what I have on. So like, whether I have it on, whether my hair is done, whether I'm dressed to the nines or not, like, if God gives me something to say, I'm going to release it in the moment. And it may be funny to somebody, and it may be the laugh of a lifetime for someone else. But let me tell you one thing for sure, is I know that it's come from God, and I'm going to release it in the earth. And so, I think it gave people permission to really be liberated from the idea of putting on to be perfect, instead of resting in their authenticity and believing that that's enough.
Baby, when I think about your life, and I think about your calling, and God truly has called you to be a champion, truly like a champion in the earth. And you think about, one of the reasons why David was so beloved, was because he was a champion. Goliath was taunting Israel, and David was like, "Who are you, you uncircumcised Philistine?" He had this courage and this boldness. And I think that you represent, especially for women, but I think for some men too, I think that you represent what people want to be but don't know how to be. We got memes all day long, and believe it's not about what you wear, or it's not about how my value is, and all that kind of stuff. But who really walks in it? Like, who really, and not that it is wrong for anybody to struggle with walking in that and standing in that, but back to you, I feel like God has chosen you to be a champion, to show people how to win, to show people how to be bold and courageous. There were women taking off their wigs. Boom. If I was there, I probably would have ripped my shirt. Something like that. Shaved my head. I don't know. I would have done something, but you inspired. Watch this. The word encourage, to put courage in. And I think that you have an anointing, and it's just really you being who you are, that literally puts courage in people because if we can break fear, you know, I would imagine you shared this with me. I'm unqualified to talk about what a woman's greatest fear may or may not be. I'll admit that. But from conversations that we've had, one of a woman's fear, a woman who wears a wig, would be in a public speaking moment or a very, you know, on stage, winning a Grammy, whatever, some high profile moment, and their wig go off, where you face that giant straight up, you know, which means that for some people, that's not their greatest fear anymore. Because they saw you do it, you walk into it, you stand up to it, and you survived. And not only survived, but honestly have thrived as a result of it. And so I'm thankful for the gift that you are. I'm thankful that you are bold and courageous because, and you know how I feel about the woman and her role in these end times. Like, we've got to get our sisters, our women, our mothers, our daughters, our grandmothers activated. And we can't be activated if we're fearful, if we don't believe in ourselves, if we don't believe in our worth and our value. So it just makes your role in the kingdom unprecedented. Don't get me going. We'll have to wait for Woman Evolve for the word that God has given to me for y'all women. It's shoot, make me want to go give me a wig. Hey, in fact, I should get one of your wigs. That's how we should have started this. You should have had your cap on, and I should have had your wig on. That's man.
Like, I just want everyone to know too that, like, I just, you know, I might take my shoes off while preaching. I do not plan on the wig coming off becoming a thing. So, like, that's
every week. Every week.
I hope everyone sees the moment. I hope you save it and save it, because I do not desire to have that become a part of the demonstration of the whole.
Give us a little bit. Come on, baby. Give us a little bit right now. Give us a little forehead.
We're good. We're good.
No, I'm proud of you, baby. I'm so proud. Shout out to Sherry Shepherd. I think that she did a beautiful job covering it, using it. And look at that. So Sherry Shepherd was blessed by it. And she used her platform to liberate other people. She took it off like this thing. That's what I'm getting at. It has a ripple effect. It wasn't just a moment. Me and Charlamagne were texting about it last night. It wasn't just a moment. It's a movement. And it's not a movement to snatch a wig off. It's bigger than that. It's a movement of radical self-acceptance. Radical self-acceptance and being delivered from this mandatory, it has to look like this, it has to be like this, it always has to be like that. There's a deliverance taking place because it's a freaking distraction. Yes, look good. Yes, look amazing. Yes, spend time on that. But sometimes we're spending so much time on that and then thinking and meditating on that, we can't even walk fully in our calling. We can't even use that creative energy and that creative ability, that cognitive power to create something powerful in the earth. Baby, I'm telling you, you started something and the world's going to be better as a result of it.
Yeah, I mean, God started something I didn't know. I wouldn't have, it's all him. I would not have chosen it, but, you know, I think the opportunity to demonstrate what it looks like to be the real deal, what it means like to really understand what priorities matter the most in a moment like that is something that I'm grateful to be a part of. But, you know, babe, I was thinking that, like, I walked around that church like 13 and pregnant. Like, I got divorced and came back to that church and walked around after having gone to CPS to defend the right to keep my kids. Like, I have experienced things that really shape your belief in self, your belief in God's ability to use you, and your ability to be confident. Like, my confidence has been attacked since I was a kid, with real stuff. And I worked hard to trust what God says about me. Like, I worked hard to really believe that I was fearfully and wonderfully made in spite of what decisions I made. I worked hard to believe that no weapon formed against me will prosper. Like, those aren't just things that I say. Like, I worked hard to believe in God for those things and to trust God. Like, my wig falling off, if that's the worst thing that ever happened to me in my entire life, then my life would be easy. But I've been in some stuff. Like, I've been in some real shake you to your core, sit in the corner, nobody wants to hear from you, you're nasty, you a hoe, like you can't do nothing for nobody, you don't have anything to say. Like, I worked hard to reclaim my identity in God. I worked hard for that. And for my back to be against the wall and to think that a wig was going to keep me from owning what I preach about, from owning the work that I've done, like, to think that that was going to be the thing that broke me, like, that's crazy. Like, do you know how much stuff tried to really break me? Like, for real, like, blow your brains out, break you, and to think that it was going to come down to a wig? Like, no, sir. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I want women to take seriously what they have overcome, not in a way that makes them feel shame, not in a way that makes them feel less than, but in a way that makes them realize that if God has kept you and God has preserved you, then maybe, just maybe, God really believes in what's possible as it relates to you taking everything that the enemy meant for evil and seeing that God meant it for good. Like, maybe he's serious about you, and maybe that's why you have been preserved, and maybe that's why you've been protected. And so if you can look at what you've gone through and said, I survived, hey, limping for sure, wounded, scarred, bruised, absolutely, but I'm still here. And if I'm still here, maybe I should take myself seriously too. Maybe I shouldn't see myself as superficial. Maybe I shouldn't see myself as so fragile that I can't show up in the very life that I have been ordained to live. Like, I believe that I am called to preach this gospel for a generation that felt unheard and unseen. I believe I'm called to preach this gospel, and I take that thing seriously. And it shouldn't be me. There should be other people more qualified, other people more eloquent, other people who get it better than I do. But this is what God is using. And I'm committed to not letting God down or choosing myself over him.
You're so humble.
I'm what? What?
No, you are. You're so humble. I wish you could see you the way I see you.
What?
No, I see you. I've always seen you, but I wish it is at the very minimum what you just described. At the very minimum, and maybe it's good. Maybe God hides the fullness of who a person is from that person to keep them in a humble place. But you're more than a preacher. You are God's revolution. You are God's revolution to bring about the full expression of God's image. Without the woman being, we've seen the power and the glory of the man, hallelujah. And we thank God for the man, but we haven't seen the full glory and the full power of the woman of God. We've seen the full power and I shouldn't say full, but we have a healthy, representation of the man of God, but the woman of God, we haven't seen her fully yet. And so you're more than a preacher. You're an activator. God has anointed you to be an activator of what I believe is one of the final pushes of the Spirit, and that is to bring the woman into her rightful place, rightful place in the kingdom. And so it is going to be hard, and the devil's going to throw everything at you. But what can the devil do with someone who will take everything he throws and throw it right back through him and cause it to be, you talk about lemon to lemonade, but what can the devil do to a person who will take whatever he throws and sling it right back at him and keep on going? You're a force, baby, and I'm proud of you, and I'm praying for you. And I think that, I mean, you look at these comments in here, you know what I mean? Like it's true. So, you know, I'm not going to just let you be a preacher. You know, we thank God for every preacher. But I'm not covering just a preacher. I'm covering a movement. And I'm proud of you. And you keep showing up. You keep showing up. You keep standing up to whatever's thrown your way. And I'm a fool with you the long way forever.
You better.
Yeah.
You really don't have a choice because I'm crazy.
Because you what?
Crazy.
Was that a threat?
Without a doubt. Record it. Show it in court, officer. Show it in court.
You crazy, bro.
I don't know. I just, I want women to trust what they have on the inside. And, yeah. That's it.
Delegation crazy. They crazy. They about as crazy.
I know. I already told them something happened to me. They already need to know. It ain't no love for you after I'm gone. Just so you know. They already know. But I do want to thank everybody I see y'all. I've read a lot of the comments. I've screenshot a lot of them. Definitely had that vulnerability hangover where I opened my mentions and just saw me in the wig hat and was like, oh, really? What just happened? But then I just remembered who I was in the moment, was like, forget it, let it go. But so many testimonies, so many people who were touched and blessed. Talent, you have a call and it just doesn't seem important. Trust it. Trust what God can do with it. Trust what can happen as you lean into it. And as you lean into it, just know that God, whatever God's going to do with it, God's going to be responsible for the results. You're just responsible for the obedience. And I love you. And that's it. Bye.